Sorry I missed the beginning of that, but the arm's come across here. I'll have to move it back. So you try and move it back and it comes back again. So it's obviously getting a pulse to try and get in that position there. Now the bed's going to move up and it's going to push up against this arm. That's why I'm trying to move it back. It's supposed to go back there to start off with and the bed move up. As it's done now. I'll just manage to hook it over the other side of the bed there. So the bed moves, gets its home position so it knows where it is. Knows the height, etc, etc. Then it moves the nozzle over. And now it should be wiping backwards and forwards about 3 times. And I have seen it move like, there we go. See, like that. But it's not supposed to be like this shaking, this jittering here, this rattling. Obviously, and now it's moved over there where it should. This is my old servo I was using for the wiper. It was causing an awful lot of jittering. I'll put some details here. But this is quite, well, it's been used constantly. 3, sometimes 4, 5 times a day, and they do have potentiometers basically in the bottom, which is like a variable resistor to sense the position, and those have carbon like track on, and those can wear out. So I don't know if that's the case with this one. You can sometimes open them up and fix them, but what I've decided those by this other servo. Can I get that number in? I'll put some details on it here. Don't know if we can see. There we are. It's upside down. It's plugged in at the moment, so I don't think I can move the servo arm. This is a bit more powerful. This is said to be 2 kilograms per centimetre. Now remember, 1 centimetre is, you know, half an inch in all money, near enough. So it's only about that distance. Like, I would say one of these holes in this horn I've put on here, that it can lift 2 kilograms, or claims to be. Further distance away it can't lift so much. Well, I'll put this on the wipe action. There's been no jitter. I have just tested it. This is just a piece of test G-code I have to tell it to go through the wipe routine. Print. Oh, actually, I'll come back after a bit because it doesn't like it auto-homes the bed, etc. to find the level of the bed. Well, basically this fits in the same bracket. I'm going to beef up this bracket, and also I'm going to make the holes 2.5 so that we can bolt these bolts in without having to put nuts on the bottom. I did get some sort of shock absorbers with this. I'll show you them just now. Well, I'm talking about the horn here, which people call the horn, which you can put like control rods going to elevators and such like on. It does. See that there's no jitter there. That's the wiping action. But there's no jitter whatsoever, like there was on the old one. But while we're talking about the horn, this horn, can I get it off? It isn't screwed on. That one fits on tightly. This is my old horn, which I want to put on actually. I'm just putting it on, trying to put it on the wrong way up, I think. No. This one, I'm pressing quite firmly there, and I can't get it on. These do have ridges in, I think, to help grip, so you want to line up the ridges as well. But I cannot seem to get this old horn on, which is the one I want, because that's... Just a second, I'll show you the wiper arm. there's like a indent in the wiper arm here for that horn to go into. So there are different sizes of diameter of horns, but there's also different lengths of these types of horns and different shapes. So I'll show you the shock absorbers that came with this. This is like the bracket. So there's one of the shock absorbers, but you get the four there. Okay, you put those on, and those. And these are some of the parts that came with it, like mainly a couple of different size discs, different shapes of horn. That cross horn I showed you that was on it. Seems very dark, this. I'm going to put this back up as it should be, and we'll try it out. I might have to file that or drill that hole out a bit in that horn to fit on. But this is using a new servo. Here's some details about it. And you'll probably notice that I've got the arm coming out this way now, because this servo actually turns the opposite way to what I expected. And I've had to change the G-code that controls the servo at the start of the print to allow for different positions, etc, etc, etc. Now there is a hardware device that you plug into a servo that reverses the direction of a servo. If it's the wrong way, then you can reverse it or what have you. You just plug it in and it'll reverse the directions of the servo. Bit of electronics, quite small I believe. And there is a hack you can do to some servos. Now I don't really recommend doing that. I did have a look in this servo, and it's got like a circuit board that seems to be stuck on the top. Now that might be actually, sometimes there's solder, like pins coming up from the bottom, come through the actual circuit board and solder on the top of the circuit board, so you can't easily remove them without desoldering. But you can swap over the motor leads and the potentiometer leads if you can get in, and you can manage that, and that will claim reverse directions. Now this hasn't done any jitter, not like my other servo, which was one of these. Now my other servo has done a little bit of jitter when it starts up, the printer starts up that is, but this one hasn't, and I've done a test on it. Move slightly there, I think, just before it's starting to move the head over. That's probably moving to the 0 position. I asked for it to be moved to the 0 position. Is about the first thing I've asked it to do. Well, all the way back that is. So that's out the way of this bed, because this bed is coming up now and it would hit that arm if that arm was out. First of all, it's going to do a home, then it's going to do the auto level, and then it's going to wipe the nozzle basically. So I'm going to cut a lot of this off, I think. Hang on, just let me just see. It's got this is like a wire brush, like brass I think it is. It's off a golf ball brush. Just chop the end off. There's a bolt, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a 3mm bolt pressing on there. At the back, just behind that, is a piece of silicon baking sheet that I've cut slots, well not slots, like lines in, so that that's almost like a brush. That's a blue thing there. This is the first real print I've tried with it. I've done like dummy runs and tests and it works, seems to work alright. So I'll come back after it's done the auto leveling here. And there we are, it's just doing the final auto leveling probe there using BLTouch, so it gets a thumbs up for me. BLTouch. This is quality Ender 5 Plus. So it moves the bed down to make sure the arm doesn't knock against it. It moves this over to a position where it can wipe the nozzle. It goes backwards and forwards about 3 or 4 times, and then it goes back out the way, and then it starts to print. I found my paperwork. Yep. So it's the second filament run-out detector, which is marked, I believe, E1 fill det. Look on here. So it's this one, the middle one here. I did try the Z probe, and I think that would work. I was trying, moved it over here to try and stop, make sure it wasn't the board that was causing the jitter, so to speak, in the other video. And it made no difference. It was still jittering with my servo. Let me show you the pinout. So here's a pinout. Sort of thing which you can get online, and it's this one, this middle one here, which is pin P1 S0. I'll show you that in Malin. Now if it was the Z probe, which is Z stop down there, it would be pin PC0 down here. I've got BLTouch, so really I don't use the Z probe stop it plugged in there. You have the BLTouch plugged in here. 3 pins in there and 2 pins in there. By the way, when you're looking at the TFT, the plug is upside down compared with the SKR 1.4 socket pins, so be careful of that. Don't think you can see it on there. So this is the SKR 1.4, and see how it's got the notches pointing down on here. This is the TFT, like if you've got dual display or touch screen or what have you. I think it's a serial port it's known as. So that's SKR 1.4 and the notches are down. And on the 2 SKR2, at least revision B, where are we? I've lost it, there we are. TFT, and pins are, there it is there, that one there. The pins are pointing up. So the reset wants to go where that square one is. Reset, which is usually loose wire, but there's no special shaped plug on the wires for some god known reason. So it's easy to confuse those, especially if you're used to the SKR 1.4. I'll show you the Malin. Look at that, going quite well yet. So here's Malin open, so you've got configuration.h. Number of servers I put down 3, remembering that BLTouch is probably classified as 1, I suppose. I'm putting 3 values here for the 3 servos, 300, I think that's milliseconds. Okay, 300 for each one. Now it does have a jitter thing here, but you can't really use that with the BLTouch, so I haven't been able to use that. I haven't tried it. And then to find just a second, sorry, So go to Malin, source, pins, and this is like the chip for the Big Tree Tech SKR version 2, SKR2 Revision B. Anyway, we want this file here, the pins underscore BT underscore SKR underscore V underscore 2 common, okay. And see, I've set up 2 servos here, one for the BLTouch, the top one there, and this new one, Servo 1, notice the 1 there and that 1 0. It's a bit hard to tell actually because you've got servo ending in a letter O, capital, and then you've got the 0 straight after that. So that's PE, the port pin is PE5, but the new one that I've set up is PA0, and I put a comment there just to remind me it's this filament run out I'm using there. Compile that and plug it. Obviously you have to plug the connections into that port there, remembering that the wiring is swapped around a bit on the cables with servos that you buy normally. That will compile okay, and that's what's running on this printer now. So it's Malin, source, pins, STM32 F4, there's quite a few here, so watch out which one you get. Then you want this open here, the common one. So there's a file here, you might think it's this one, but all that does is tell you to, well, it's good as tell you to open up the common file there, right? Okay. So that's the file you want. I mark my stuff with Protomaker Sprint, so remember. There's that one, filament run up pin, and here's the one for the servo change. I could add another servo there, but I aren't using any other servo. Just set up 3 servos just for future. So I'll just show you back in config. So 3 servos, each one needs a time interval.